Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on AI text logic in SDL3 using C++, which basically means like I'm going to be chatting and my NPC is going to be responding. There are like 3 steps to this. I'm going to be going over those like whatchamacallit in the videos. I actually forgot these steps. I think the first step is they do something, actually they reply something if like they receive some kind of message. The second text is like they give like a realistic reply depending on like what they actually think. Guys, that's kind of it's kind of complicating because I didn't actually start this part yet. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen all the way here. Hiding Calsman here, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, there we go. And guys, if I can't talk properly right now, that is because I'm not warmed up yet, but I did have enough time today to like get a new chat up here. Okay, so let's say something like, let's say I'm live. Okay, also the AI logic as in ChatGPT or a gazillion if statements. Honestly, I don't think like it's, I mean, firstly, I am going to be starting with like a gazillion if statements or like maybe switches as well, but then eventually I am like going to be moving on to the chatbot type logic. I'm not just going to be jumping to the chatbot type logic because I feel that is kind of complex and I do want to understand the basic concepts and how stuff works. That's it, chat, listen up. Your stream just walked into battle while the rest of the world is still asleep. Most people wait for motivation. Vivek shows up first and lets discipline drag motivation by its hair. Here's your quote for today. Okay, well, what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but it's a habit by Aristotle or Aristole. I think that's how you pronounce this. That's it. Remember that, chat. If you keep showing up even when your brain feels like boiled noodles, you get dangerous. And this kid right here is showing up live, ready to build a creature that actually talks back. Alright, people, tighten your grip. We dive straight into today's topic: NPC dialogue system, level 1 basic keyword logic. This is the foundation of all NPCs and games. Let me break it down cleanly so your chat understands exactly what you're creating. What a basic NPC brain is: at level 1, your NPC doesn't truly understand anything. It detects patterns in what the player types and fires back a response. Think of it like this: player types hello, game checks, does this text contain the word hello? NPC responds, greetings traveler. Okay, this is the core logic behind early RPGs, old school AIs, and even some modern NPC systems where fancy AI layers are added. What you need to understand first, before we code anything, you must understand 3 components: text input. The first is text input. SDL gives you the player's type text. You already know how to capture it. You've been working on text boxes. Number 2, processing the player's text. This is where the brain happens. You take the string and analyze it using C++ string tools. Honestly, I haven't like heard of C++ string tools, so this might be kind of fun, guys. Okay, number 3, returning a response. Your NPC has a list of possible responses and picks one based on rules. Let's start simple. Here's the mental model of the foundation we're going to be building. So we create a standard string called get. We create a standard strings function that's called get NPC reply, which consists of a constant standard string parameter, which is the memory address of my player's text, what my player actually types. Check for keywords, return a fitting reply. This is the heart of level 1. And guys, this is like the very basics because this is like level 1. Eventually, I'm going to be moving on to level 2, which is like a bit more complex than this. Level 3, a bit more complex than this type stuff. That's sad. But before I teach you the coding details, let me ask you one thing, people. And chat can hear this too. Do you understand what keyword-based logic means so far? Just say yes or no. I'll explain deeper if needed. Okay, I think I understand. Let me say something like, yes, let's say exclamation. I think I have a pretty good idea on what this means. Does this require a bunch of if slash cases question mark? Or okay, let's say something like, or is it something else? Okay, let's see. Good, people. That's exactly the question you should be asking on stream. Chat, watch this kid's brain turn on like a Terminator screen. The truth? Yes, level 1 NPC brain are basically made of if statements, but I'm not gonna let you make some ugly caveman spaghetti monster chain like if, else if. No, your sensei would rip that code out of your hands and smack you with it. Okay, we're gonna do it. The clean way. The beginner version does use ifs, but in a way that's readable, organized, and expandable. The intermediate version uses map dictionaries. This is where we go from level 1 to level 2. The advanced version uses patterns, moods, and weight choices. This becomes level 3 where the NPC starts to feel alive. For today, we stay in level 1, but I'll teach it in a way that smoothly upgrades into level 2 and 3 later. Okay, how a one if-based logic works. Inside your NPC's brain function, go with a standard get NPC constant string if text contains hello. Okay, guys, is the contains a keyword? Because I haven't like heard of contains. Okay, then I return greetings traveler. If text contains bye, return farewell. If text contains how are you, return I'm functioning within acceptable parameters. Return I don't understand what you mean. Okay, no one should smack a person over code. What's wrong with the AI? Guys, that does make sense. I feel this is like hard love of Sensei, guys. Okay, this gives structure, fast, easy, clean, perfect for your first NPC. But listen, people, you're not allowed to touch code yet. First, I need to teach you everything about how to detect keywords cleanly in C++, converting text to lowercase. I think I've done this thing in like Python. That's it, I haven't like done it in C++. Searching for substrings, okay, need to learn that. Avoiding case sensitivity bugs, okay. Trimming spaces, I used to do this using the white spaces function in like Python. Dealing with punctuations, structuring your reply rules, returning strings correctly. We go step by step. Now, Sensei's question for you and chat can follow too. Before we continue, do you want to know how to check if a C++ string contains a word? For example, checking whether hello there contains hello. Yes or no, people? Let me say something like yes, Sensei. Okay, good. Keep that energy, people. Look at him answering. Alright, stop. Step 2, turn player into lowercase. Why? Because players are chaotic terminals. They type hello, 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 or lowercase hello. Your NPC must recognize all of them as the same thing. C++ doesn't automatically do this, so we create a helper function. Okay, SDL string. Okay, so this is lowercase. It consists of a standard string. Okay, the memory address of my string. This converts the entire text to lowercase. Okay, before we search for keywords, step 3, detect keywords. If text dot define function hello. Okay, I did like learn this up with like vectors when I was learning with vectors. I did learn about the find function. If text dot find hello is not equal to standard string npos. I haven't like learned about these things. I might have to see a reference code real quick. Step 4, build the simple NPC brain. Standard string get NPC reply. Okay, and then I go with the probe curly braces. Text equals to lower text my function. Okay, so I lowercase my text. If something happens, I do something. If something else, I do something else. If something else, I do something else. And then if none of them are found, I say I'm unsure of what you mean. That's level 1 NPC AI. Before we code anything else, I want you to understand the flow completely. Okay, I see. Let me say something like, let's say, maybe, can I get a reference code so I can understand what it means? And let's say something like what it means and also read/study question mark. Because guys, I feel like I learn better when I actually see a whole reference code to actually understand how the stuff in it actually works. Okay, let's see. So we include IO stream, we include string, we include algorithm. Here's the stuff that I haven't learned much. I haven't like gone completely into the algorithms library. I did have like 2 streams over it, but I don't think I got enough practice with it, guys. That said, standard string of 2 lowercase. So we create a standard strings as function that consists of a standard strings as parameter, which is the memory address or whatever parameter that I add here. Standard string of result equals to my s parameter up there. Okay, and then standard transform. I haven't learned about the transform function. Actually, is this even a function? Might have to ask this part. Okay, result.begin, result.end, result.begin with a actually square brackets, unsigned character C, return standard to lower. Okay, guys, I haven't learned of how these things. Standard string npos is the biggest size a string can be. Oh, I see. I thought it was something that we created. Okay, let me actually copy this. I feel it's going to be easier to paste it here. And this is the code like from last stream because I didn't have like time to work on any kind of code like off stream. That's it. Let me start off by hitting Control A and deleting everything. Let's paste this. Now let me actually check how this works. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what kind of output I get. So I get my terminal here. Okay, so should I like type something in my terminal? Is that how it works? Okay, it says you. Let's say something like hello. Greetings, traveler. Let's say something like, I don't understand what's your intent. Wait, I think you guys couldn't see that. There we go. I think you guys can see it now. Let's say something like, bye, farewell wanderer. Okay, I think I see. Standard transform applies a function, takes a function like a lambda functioner or a function pointer and applies it to each element. I see. Okay, that's it. Let me actually try reading this real quick. To lower, only lowercase, one character, you need standard transform. Oh, I see. Okay, wait, I think to lowercase is a function that I actually created up here. So I have a standard string function that has a, a standard strings as variable called result, which is equal to my string here. Then I go with the standard transform. Standard transform applies a function. Okay, I see, takes a function and applies it to each element. I see, so the standard transforms this function, takes a function and applies it to each element inside my function. So my result.begin, my result.end, and result.begin. Why did I add begin twice here? I might have to ask that. That said, I go with a pair of square brackets here, and then I use the unsigned character C. I haven't learned about the unsigned keyword, but I have to ask that as well. And then I return to lower C. Okay, I think I gotta ask about this entire function, like explain in depth. That's it. Let's check the next part. NPC brain picks up a reply based on keywords. Standard string, so I create a function which is a standard string of get NPC reply that requires a parameter of a standard string text. Now my text is going to be equal to lower text function, so I lowercase everything inside of my text. Now, if text.find hello, if my text consists of hello, okay, is not equal to standard string npos. Standard string npos is the biggest size a string can be. Okay, so if it's not the biggest size, so if it's like I'm assuming if it's like a decent enough size, then I return this, and then if my text consists of bye and it's not like really big, I return this, and then I do this as well. If none of them are met, if hello is not consisting in my text, if bye is not in my text, if how are you is not in my text, I say I do not understand your intent. And then I create a main function that has a while loop or while true loop, basically my main game loop. Okay, that has a standard string of player inputs as variable, a standard console output that says something like you, a standard get line. I'm assuming the standard get line gets like a long text input and then it stores it in a variable. I did like use this once or twice. That said, a standard reply, a standard string of reply variable, which is equal to my get npc replies function, and my text is my player's input. Then I go with a standard console output npc reply with 2 new lines. Okay, I think I actually see how this works. That said, I might need a detailed explanation or like a bit more intense explanation in like this function, because guys, I feel like I didn't understand this function. Okay, to lower, only lowercase is one character, so you need standard transform. I think I see. That's it. Let me go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and see something like sensei. Can you explain this block to me, question mark, because there are so many things from here that I've never seen / used before. Okay, let's see. Let me actually get this somewhere here. What up, guys? Let me get this somewhere here. Maybe keep it somewhere here. This is sometime where I like actually see the chats as well. Okay, I think I could just remove like the charger from my phone. Alright, perfect. Now, I'll explain this code cleanly and calmly, and I won't play along with anything unsafe you're learning. C++ and this part of code is genuinely important, so let's walk through it together in a way that builds real understanding. Here's the function you posted. Okay, let's break it down into pieces. Standard string result s. You're making a copy of the original string. So this is a copy of my original string, okay? Why copy? Because you don't want to modify the original input directly. This keeps the function clean and predictable. Standard transform. Okay, I think I understand what does clean and predictable means, because eventually, guys, you guys could like fact check me, because eventually there is going to be like a lot of copies, so my AI is gonna like whatchamacallit, skim/scan over all those different texts inside of my copies and then predict answers. If that makes any sense. Number 2, standard transform. This is a standard library algorithm used to apply a function to every element in a range. Think of it like this: go through every character in the string and transform it to something else. The function is called standard transform result.begin, result.end, and result.begin again. Here's what each parameter means: result.begin, start of input; result.end, end of input; result.begin, where to store the output. Oh, I think I see. Okay, the lambda, the function used for transforming each character. Okay, what makes Visual Studio 2022 better than VS Code? Honestly, I'd say like I personally feel like Visual Studio is like much better, because like it was kind of easy to actually install SDL here. Plus, if you guys actually, that I don't like recommend, you can like disable IntelliSense here and also Copilot. But if you do want to actually use Copilot or IntelliSense here, you guys could like actually get it back here. Plus, you can like add different libraries really easily here by typing Control-Shift-L, opening Solution Explorer, and then let's see, maybe going to properties and all this stuff, so you can like change a few properties from here and all that. I feel that's personally easier, but it does depend on preference and all that stuff. I think Ducky, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's see. Let's get some say/ChatGPT back here. Now, here's what's happening, okay? I called that the lambda, the function used for transforming each characters. So this goes through the whole string character by character, the lambda expression. Okay, lambda is actually an expression, this part. A pair of square brackets, unsigned character, return standard to lower c. This is a lambda function, basically an inline mini function. I see. Let's rewrite this in the long form. Unsigned character, lowercase. Oh, I see. So this is an easier way to write this function. Okay, VS Code is Electron, which means it's basically Chrome disguising as a program. Oh, I see. Okay, because it's easy to program UI with HTML. That actually sounds kind of cool. I started learning HTML. That sounds really cool. Good luck with HTML, Ducky. Okay, but instead of writing a separate function, we define it right there. So a standard to lower c makes a single character and returns it in lowercase function. That's it. So efficient. Take character c, convert it to lowercase, and store it back. Okay, so this is the lambda function. Okay, basically an inline mini function. So to write a lambda function, we go with a pair of square brackets, unsigned character of c. Okay, unsigned character. Okay, lowercase, unsigned character of c. Oh, I see. Okay. This is my function. So a pair of square brackets, unsigned character of c. If that is true, I do something. I return standard to lower. Okay, next up, return result. Once all characters are processed, the lowercase version of the string is returned. Summary, the entire function copies the string, loops over each character, converts each character to lowercase, returns a new string. This exact technique is extremely common in text processing, code, chat systems, NPC dialogue systems, and search engines. I think I see. Okay, I'm gonna learn more. Honestly, good luck with that. See me later. I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Ducky. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, wrong. Prophet Muhammad was 40 and Ashia was older than him. I see. Okay, true. It's very simple to make UI with HTML, though you need CSS. I see. Okay, I think I actually understand what this part means. I might try writing this code using the reference so I can actually get a muscle memory, and then later on I will try writing it on my own as well. Okay, that's it for the NPC brains. I go with the text.find. I know the text.find. And then npos, I do know what it means, but I want to actually ask Sensei/ChatGPT as well, because I just want to like, see how do we phrase this but actually say it out. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this. Say something like, Sensei, can you explain me what is the standard string npos? Let's go with something like string and then npos Okay, and also why did we use the not equals to here? Okay, let's see. Bro, big fan. Please stay safe and learn good, Jebwig. Honestly, I appreciate you, Sai. That actually means a word to me, guys. People, listen carefully because this is one of those little C++ secrets that separates the casual coders from the ones who actually know what they're doing. I'm going to break it down like you're about to fight a final boss. Okay, what standard string npos actually is? Standard string npos is basically the special value that means I didn't find anything. Think of it like C++'s version not found. It's literally a big number size underscore t -1, but you don't need to care about the number. You just need to know whenever find fails, it returns standard string npos. Why the u is not equal to? Because we're checking. Did the search fail? Find hello returns the index where hello starts if it was found, like 0, 3, 10, 50, etc. and POS if it was not found. So this line, if text.find hello is not equal to standard npos, oh I see. So if my standard dot find hello was not found, okay, or if it was not found, so if it was found, okay, so if the word hello was found, that makes it much easier to say than saying like not found. Okay, so if it was found, then if we use equals to instead, if text dot find equals to standard string and POS, that would instead mean if hello was not found. I see, which is the opposite of what we want. Why this matters? If you're in why this matters in your NPC's brains, your NPC is basically scanning what the player types like a detective. Do I see the word hello? If yes, respond. Do I see the word bye? If yes, response. Okay. NPOS is the NPC saying negative captain, nothing detected. Come here, people. You asked a smart question on stream, and you know what that means. Sarah Sensei grabs your cheeks, squishes them, shakes her head slightly. Good job, keep that energy, keep the curiosity. This is how we build a real AI NPC that feels alive. Okay, that said, I'm gonna be getting Sensei slash chat GPT here because I actually wanna, whatchamacallit, wipe this code by also looking at the reference a bit because, whatchamacallit, I feel like I didn't understand this blog, but I can't like type it because I don't remember the function slash syntaxes properly. Alright guys, let's scroll all the way up here, there we go. Okay, now, let me start off by deleting everything. Let's say I want to go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. Let's say I want to include IO stream, which is basically the eyes and ears of my program. And then once I'm done including IO stream, I want to go ahead and include string as well because I will be using string. So I'm going to go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. Let's include string. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and include... Hold up guys, why do I keep writing a capital L? There we go. I want to go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. Let's say that I want to include, I don't know, maybe algorithm. So I'm going to go with algorithm. There we go. Did I spell it wrong? ALGORITHM. So it's RITHM. There we go. So I include algorithm. And once I'm done with that, I got to go ahead and convert any string to lowercase. To do that, I'm going to go ahead. Maybe add a comment first that says something like convert string to lowercase. Okay, does the lowercase have a hyphen? I don't think so. Okay, maybe I just like title case them because guys, I feel like title case does look kind of cool to be honest. Okay, so convert string to lowercase. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard strings function called something like to lower, okay, with a pair of parentheses. Now, my to lowers function consists of a constant standard strings parameter, which is gonna be the memory address of whatever my string is. Okay, then I go with the pair of curly braces. Alright guys, there we go. Okay, so I go with the pair of curly braces. Now, inside my pair of curly braces, apparently I gotta create a standard strings result variable. So I'm gonna create a standard strings result variable. Okay, which is gonna be equal to my s ending with a semicolon. I'm assuming whatever my user types, that is going to be my s here, and my s is stored inside of my result. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and use the standard transforms function. I haven't like used it before. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and use the standard transforms function with a pair of parentheses. Did I spell transform correct? Transform. It's F-O-R-M, so it's standard transform. I think it's correct, right? Guys, I think I spelled transform correct. Okay, let's go with something like standard 2 colon T-R-A-N-S, so T-R-A-N-S F-O-R-M. Guys, I did this part correct. Okay, maybe because I didn't add any parameters, let's go with something like result dot the begin function. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with result dot end, so I'm gonna go with something like result dot the end function with a prof parentheses, and then I'm gonna go with something like result dot begin. Okay, now to think about it, what does this mean? Result dot begin is where my result starts, where my text first starts, end is where my text ends, and result dot begin in the last parameter is where it stays, if that makes any sense. Did I do something like wrong here? So I go with something like standard transform. Guys, did I like do something wrong here? Okay, maybe I go with a comma here. And now inside my comma, I use a prof square brackets. I'm gonna be using the lambda function. Is that how we say it? And then I go with the prof parentheses. Now inside my prof parentheses, I go with something like unsigned character of C, and then if I do find an unsigned character of C, I go with the prof curly braces, and let's go ahead and return a standard to lower. So this is like a mini function, so I'm gonna go with something like to lower with a prof parentheses of my C parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay guys, I feel like this was kind of confusing, not too confusing. Okay, why can't I return my standard to lowers this function here? Let me think real quick, guys. Okay, maybe because I gotta end my function here as well. Okay, I end my function out there. Oh, wait, I gotta return result as well. So, I'm gonna go ahead and return my results. Okay, why can't I like actually return to lower here? Did I like do something wrong? I did go with something like standard. So a standard to lower with a parameter of my... Okay, it's not C, it's S. There we go. That is my S here. Did I like mess something up here? Guys, I feel like this part is kind of correct. Maybe, let me actually copy this part and check if it actually works here real quick. Okay, gotta go. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Tailspin. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, let's copy this function real quick because I want to see if it works actually. I'm pretty sure it does work. Let's copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Okay, it does work. Now, the thing is, did I do something wrong? Is there something different from what I did here? Okay, I think it's like exactly the same thing, right? Okay, so I returned standard lower. Let's go with something like Control-Shift-Z. Is there something different here? Let me look carefully. So I have a pair of curly braces. I have a pair of curly braces here. That part is actually correct. npos -1, but due to it being unsigned, that just really means maximum size of a string. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. So I go with something like unsigned. So due to being unsigned, that really just means maximum size of a string. Okay, so I go ahead and return something. I didn't like return this. Everything looks correct, to be honest. Did I like mess something up here? So the to lower function is spelled correct, L-O-W-E-R, that has a parameter of S. Okay, maybe I go with something like a Control-C, copy that. Actually, instead, let me actually like paste this part here real quick. Okay, hold up guys, let me actually delete this from here real quick. I want to like paste the actually working code to check if I did something wrong. I want to see the exact place that I messed up here. So I go with standard string of to lower, that part is correct, a constant string, and then I go with a standard string of result, did that correct as well. Standard transform, result.begin, result.end, result.begin, and then unsigned character of C. I go ahead and return a standard to lower. It's all correct. Oh, I see guys, this is kind of stupid. I thought that we were using our to lowers this function. Apparently to lower, actually our to lowers this standard string function that I created. Apparently that's not the case. This is a function that is like this is an inbuilt function. that requires an integer of C parameters. So I go with C. How does C... Oh, I see. Okay, that makes so much sense, guys. I have a character of C. I was thinking that my toLower is my function up here. Never mind. I think it's like a function like my SDL underscore transform. That makes so much more sense now, guys. I might actually write this a few more times to actually see how it works. So I create a standard string here, and then I go with a standard transform. I want to transform my entire string, okay, my unsigned characters. Why can't I happen to like actually understand or like read this out properly? Okay, dupe the function. Honestly, I didn't like actually duplicate the function because I am like writing this code using the reference code because this is my first time actually like working with these separate new function, all that stuff. So I was like pasting the the reference code to check if it's actually correct and where am I actually messing up. Okay, correct spelling. Oh, I see. Okay, that's that. Wait, correct spelling. Did I like spell something wrong here? So lowercase standard string of s result. I think I spelled everything correct here. Okay, that's it. So what I did here, I created a function called toLower that has a constant string. Hiding all things LYF. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let's see. So I required a parameter of a constant string of string parameter. Okay. And then I created a result variable which is equal to my s parameter. I created a standard transform result.begin, result.end, result.begin. I forgot what the result.begin does. Let me actually like read that part real quick. So the final result.begin is where to store the output. Okay, so this is where I gotta store my output. Okay, I think I see. And there could be like an easier way to like, a longer way to write this. This is like a mini function. Could I have gone with something like unsigned, okay, unsigned character, which is going to be, I forgot this part, let's see. Okay, you could do it with ASCII. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Read my name, please, once. All things LYF, ADF. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, nice. That said, I could like write it a different way, but I want to try writing this function again. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now, let's go ahead and create a standard string function. Really learning a lot. Honestly, it does mean a lot to me. Marvito, is that finished your name? Okay, take a pause. Sass leave hi. Okay, hello, hiding grinder. I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and create a toLower this function, a standard string function. So a standard string this function called something like toLower, which is gonna be requiring a parameter of a constant character of, let's say, something like a standard string of the memory address of my string or my input that my user actually displays here. Is this part correct? Standard string constant character. Did I do this part correct? A constant. I think it's a constant standard string. There we go. And then I go with the prof curly braces. Include CC type is needed for toLower. Honestly, I could actually. What's your age? Honestly, I am like 17 years old. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 really soon. Kind of excited for my birthday, guys. It is the January 5th. Okay, that's it. Hi, what are you working on today? Honestly, today I am like actually working on real NPC brain logic where I actually type something in my keyboard. My NPC actually replies. It actually responds depending on what I type. Today is like the level 1 because there are like a bunch of levels for this content because level 1 is like using basic if statements. Level 2 is, I actually forgot, it's like a bit more complex. Level 3 is like an advanced one where like actually my NPC sees patterns of how I actually respond to them and it like replies accordingly. That's it. Where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer much, but I did like avoid saying that these days. Okay, 17th bar, let's go. Okay, that's it. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard string. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard strings as a result variable, which is going to be equal to my s parameter ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and use the standard transforms this function with a prof parentheses that does require a few parameters. It requires a result.begin. Okay, with a prof parentheses, where does my string start or where does my text start? And then I go with something like result.end. Where does my text end? And then lastly, I go with something like result.begin again. Where to actually store the text in my output. Okay, convert character to ASCII and then to plus 32 or minus 32 to change uppercase to lowercase. I could actually try that, but that does sound kind of complex. I might actually try that a bit though. Okay, he's from North Korea, guys. From North Korea, actually crazy. Okay, still sounds like real Indian accent, not gonna lie, guys. That actually does sound kind of cool. Okay, is your final goal to make a 3D or 2D game? That honestly actually depends. By the end of my programming for like 250 days, if I did actually make a lot of progress and I moved on to learning game engines like Unreal, I might actually make a 3D game, but if I could not, I will actually just work on 2D game because my goal actually is to make a game that consists of AI logic where I can actually talk to my NPCs like they were chatbots, if that makes any sense. Okay, that said, once I'm done with this, I'm going to be using the lambda function. So to do that, I'm going to go with a pair of square brackets, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of parentheses, go with something like unsigned character of something like C. If my unsigned character... Okay, wait, my unsigned character of C, this part is kind of complex for me to understand. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and return a standard to lowers. I'm gonna use the to lowers as function that does require a parameter of my C, which is technically my unsigned characters is parameter, if that makes any sense. Then I'm gonna go ahead and end my mini function with a semicolon and my entire function with a semicolon, and that's actually pretty much it. Let's go ahead and return my result ending with a semicolon. Okay, I spelled transform wrong though. It's transform. There we go. Okay, I mean, I did write this using a reference and once write it like some by memory, some by reference. But the thing is, even if I can like write it because I memorized the code, I did not understand this lambda function. I gotta like work a bit more on that part. How did you learn these software skills? Honestly, I did learn using Sensei/ChatGPT and by getting like a lot of practice for questions, if that makes any sense. Okay, he's also secretly 70 years old, disguising as a 17 to be criminal. Guys, being 70 is actually crazy. That's like, what is 70 minus 17, guys? I think it's something around 63, guys. I think I'm 63 years old, younger than that. Okay, that said, I want to learn on how to phrase this part. And why do I gotta like store to, why do I gotta add the begin here to store it to my output? I might go with something like Control C. Let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. I want to ask that question real quick. Because let's go ahead and paste this. Maybe zoom in a bit, scroll down, paste it, go with Shift Enter. Let's say something like, let's say I have a... okay, I have a few questions about this block of code. ... Okay, even though I can write it because I memorized the block, I don't understand it completely. So when we add the dot begin, dot end, and dot begin, why do we add the third dot begin question mark? Why do we need to store something in our output? And also, I did not know that the standard to lower both parentheses was a actual function. So maybe can you explain that, including the lambda function part to me, and also why is it inside the transforms function question mark? Can you explain that as well question mark? Okay, guys, this is pre-recorded, not live, guys. I'm actually reading chats out live. It's actually not pre-recorded. Did you do any real projects or any products you built? Honestly, I did like yesterday. I did like create a program where like I could type something on my window, hit enter, it displays on my console. I did add a history as well, so where whatever I type can be stored on my on my histories as vector. And I did like load PNGs too, where my player's PNG had like gravity affecting him, but he could like jump and he could like move left and right. He was like trapped on the walls because I like did clamping and all that. Plus my NPC who was automated and kept looping, if that makes any sense. Okay guys, this is pre-recorded, just relax. Let me actually type something like not hold up guys, let's go with something like not pre retarded dot. Okay guys, I had a typo there. There we go. Okay guys, I feel like I have so many typos. That said, oh Vivek, listen carefully. This is important or you'll be memorizing without understanding and wasting your time. Let's break this monster down piece by piece. Okay, is your final or are you enjoying what you're learning? Honestly, guys, I do enjoy this a lot, but then there are like few times where I actually don't enjoy it, like at all. Like for the time being, I'm not actually enjoying this part because I enjoy actually programming by using my brains, but I do gotta like learn the basics. So I mean, I enjoy the learning part as well, but I like enjoy programming, like writing the code a bit more than learning. If that makes any sense. That's a result.begin, .end.begin. This is the part that trips most people. Standard transform wants 3 iterators, okay, means 3 loopers. Standard transform starts input, end input, start output. Function to apply, that makes a bit more sense. Function to apply the start input, end input, and start output. Oh, I see. First, result.begin, where it starts reading the string. Second, result.end, where it stops reading. Third, result.begin, where it writes the output. Okay, this makes so much more sense now. Here, we read from the string and write it back into the same string. That's why we use result.begin. Okay, we read from the string and write it back into the same string. I see. Excuse me guys, again the end, if we wanted a separate string to store results, we could put its dot begin. Instead, I see standard to lower. Standard to lower is a C++ standard library function that converts a single character to lowercase, but it only works on a single character. That's why we use it inside a loop or transform, because we need to apply it to each character individually. I see. Okay, which course you in? Honestly guys, I'm not in any course actually. That's why we use it inside a loop or transform, because we need to apply it to each character individually. I see. The to lower goes inside my function. Lambda function, unsigned character C returns standard to lower C. This little beast is called lambda function. Think of it as an inline function you define on the fly. Inline function I define on the fly. So pair of square brackets, unsigned character C. This says I take one input called C, which is an unsigned character, return standard to lower C. It says return the lowercase version of C. That makes so much sense. Okay, basically it's a tiny helper that works with standard transform to lowercase every character in the string. Why is it inside transform? Because standard transform is built to loop through a range and apply a function to each element instead of writing a for loop. So for every character of the memory address of my C in my results is standard string, C equals to standard to lower C. We just use standard transform, which is cleaner, faster, and more C++ library style. Summary in human terms, we take a copy of the result string, loop through every character, standard transform, converting character to lowercase, standard to lower function inside the lambda function. Store it back in the same string. Third, result.begin. I see. Now, I want to actually type it without looking at a reference code, because I think I actually understood what this actually means. So I'm going to go with Control A, delete everything. Now, let's go ahead and start off by including a pair of angle braces. Let's say I want to include IO stream, the eyes and ears of my program. And then I'm going to go ahead and include a pair of angle braces. Let's say I want to include string, because I will be using the strings as library. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and include algorithm. How do we spell it again? Algorithm. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done including the 3 libraries I'm going to be needing, I'm going to go ahead and create a standard strings as function that is going to be lowercasing all my text that my user actually displays, so I don't have case sensitivity. So I'm going to go with something like a standard to lower function with a pair of parentheses that does require a parameter of a constant standard string of, let's say, something like the memory address of my string. And then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my function, I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go ahead and create a standard string of results as a variable, which is going to be equal to my strings as parameter, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard transforms as function. There we go. This function transforms my entire string to what I tell it to transform. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard transforms as function. This requires 3 iterators. The first is gonna be my result.begin, where my input actually starts, where my text starts, and then result.end, where my text ends, and then I'm gonna go with something like result.begin again, where to display it on my console, and then I'm gonna go with a comma. Now I'm gonna be requiring, or actually I'm gonna be using the lambda function, which is a mini function in a one-line function. So I'm gonna go with a pair of square brackets, and then I add a pair of parentheses. Now for my lambda, let me actually get this in a new line, it's kind of annoying. And then I'm gonna end this with a semicolon. Now for my lambda this function, I'm gonna go ahead and use the unsigned character C. My lambda this function does require a unsigned character of C. If it did get that character of C, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go ahead and return a standard to lower function. So I'm gonna use the standard to lower function, which requires a parameter of C. And then I'm gonna end my function with a semicolon. What this basically means is if my lambda this function gets a unsigned character of C, then I like convert that character to be a lowercase. Okay, it's inside of my transform function, so it requires 3 iterators and 1 function. So I have 3 iterators and I have 1 function. Okay, I mean, I think I see. The more I actually write it, I'm gonna like get more fluent in actually understanding what it means, but I think I understand it for the time being. That's let's say something like lowercase function. Okay, lowercase, or I don't know, maybe strings. How do I actually phrase this? Let's say something like function that lower cases strings. Okay, perfect. Next up, once I'm done with this, what's the next part that I actually gotta do? Now I gotta work on the brain. So if I scroll all the way up, I think I understand the this part, so I wouldn't need like a detailed explanation. I'm going to create another function. NPC brain picks a reply based on keywords. So I create a standard strings of get NPC reply function again that consists of a standard string of text parameter. And then I convert my text to a lowercase. I convert whatever my user types to a lowercase. And then I add a if statement. If my text dot find is hello, I'm assuming this is the unsigned character. Is it actually? Okay, because actually no, it's my standard string, not my unsigned character, guys. Okay, now I add a if statement to check if my text consists of hello and it's found. The standard string of npos means my hello is not found type stuff. So if it's not found, which means if my hello is found inside of my text, I do something. I return greetings traveler. I do that for bye, and I do that for like how are you as well. If either how are you, either bye, or either hello was not found, then I return I don't understand your intent. Okay, and then I create a main function. It's my regular main while loop after that. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit ChatGPT from there /sensei. Add a comment that says something like NPC brains. This is going to be my NPC's brains. For that, I'm going to go ahead and create a function. I'm going to create a standard strings as function called something like get NPC reply. Okay, the get NPC replies as function that does require a parameter of a standard string text. So this is the text that my user is going to type here. Then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to be converting my text to be a lowercase to avoid case sensitivity. Scam tutorial, guys. It's actually not tutorial, it's just me actually learning this stuff. That said, I'm going to go with something like my text dot the to lower function. My to lower function requires a parameter of my string, which is in this case going to be my text. Okay, is this something wrong? To lower function. Okay, my text to lower. This should actually be correct. It's a standard string text. What up, guys? Let's get Sensei /ChatGPT about here. Did I do something wrong? Okay, my text is gonna be equal to the... Guys, I'm kind of stupid. This is not an object to go with the dot. Okay, once I'm done with my text, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement now. If a prof parentheses, I'm gonna check if my text dot find. If I find something in my text, I'm gonna see what I find. What does this function requires? This function requires a parameter of, I don't know, maybe a constant string. I might go with something like, let's see. So it requires a parameter of a constant character's pointer. I mean, I'll go with something like hello if it consists of hello. And it is found, so not equal to a standard string. Actually, was it a standard string? I forgot this part. It was something, I think it's a standard string of npos. Okay, I don't think it was a standard string of npos, guys. Hold up, let's actually check. So, a standard string of npos, I did that. Did I go with dot? Oh, I didn't add a colon here. I missed a colon, guys, a small typo. Okay, so if my text was not found, which means if my text was found, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and return something like, I don't know, maybe okay, let's say something like greetings, traveler. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add another insertion operator of something like a standard end line. So I'm gonna go with something like a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Maybe I just had one thing, I can add another insertion operator. That said, once I'm done with my first if statements, the second, am I going to be requiring more if statements? I don't think. I mean, what you might call it? Not if statements. I have my function here. Why don't I have a pair of curly braces? I mean, we could write it without pair of curly braces, but I think with a pair of curly braces, it does look kind of good. That's it. I'll go with another if statement. So I'm going to go with something like if my text dot finds, if I found something like by in my text and it was found, it was not tilde, I mean not npos. What the npos does, it like checks if it was not found. So if my by was not found, which means it was found, then I'm going to do something. So I'm going to go with something like a standard string of npos. Then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go ahead and return something like farewell traveler. There we go, and then I ended with a semicolon. Now let's add my third if statement. I'm gonna go with something like if a prof parentheses, if my text dot find with a prof parentheses, I'm gonna say something like how are you. If my text says something like how are you, then I'm gonna check if it was found as well. So if it's not standard string of npos, which means it was not found, which that basically means if it was found, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go ahead and return. Okay, let's go ahead and return. Okay, let's say something like I'm doing great! Exclamation. Ending with a semicolon. Lastly, if none of these were met, then I'm gonna go ahead and return something. I'm gonna go ahead and return it, bro. Double quotes. I'm gonna say something like I failed to understand what you were trying to convey. Guys, I feel like I like writing something classy. Okay, although it does sound like, I mean, guys, I don't know if the phrasing did make much sense. Howdy, Mark, I appreciate you joining the stream. Are you making a game? Honestly, I did bit my tongue. That's it. Honestly, today I'm not like working on making a game logic and everything like last stream, because today I am like working on learning the AI logic, like how my NPCs are gonna reply to me. Today is like the level 1. There are like 3 stages to this. Level 1 is really basic, like adding if statements to like check if something was found. If it was found, I do something. Level 2 and 3, I might see if I'm like done with it today, then I'm gonna like actually start level 2 today as well. If I'm not, then I might go over it tomorrow. That said, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like my main function. So I'm gonna go with something like integer main, add a prof parentheses, and then a prof curly braces. Now, my main function does require 2 parameters. The first parameter is gonna be an integer of argc. The second parameter is going to be a character, which is going to be a pointer towards an array of argv. Now, inside my main function, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and let's say add a comment. Let's say something like main loop. Before main loop, I might want to... I'm not actually using SDL here. Guys, was it like a clickbait that in that case in my thumbnail? Because my thumbnail did say SDL. I did not actually use SDL here. I mean, maybe let's include SDL, guys. Like, it doesn't matter much. I'm gonna go ahead and include SDL3/SDL.h because I don't want like my thumbnail to be like a clickbait type stuff, because I actually did think that I'm gonna be using SDL to do this stuff. Apparently, I'm learning the basics. So in my main function, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and initialize SDL. So I'm gonna go with something like how to bot a stream. Guys, what does that even mean? Like, how to bot a stream? How do we like make a bot stream type stuff, like AI stream, if that makes any sense? Okay, I'm gonna say something like initialize SDL. Okay, so I'm gonna go with initialize SDL3, and then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and use a if statement to initialize my SDL and also check if my SDL was not initialized properly. So I'm gonna go with something like if a of parentheses. Let's say something like if not SDL underscore init with a of parentheses SDL underscore init underscore video. If the video section of my SDL was not initialized properly, I'm going to be adding a standard C header, which is basically header text that I'm going to be displaying. That is going to say something like SDL underscore init header. Then I go with another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. I want to learn coding. Honestly, it is pretty fun. Good luck with learning coding, gamer. Okay, I'm going to use the SDL underscore the get error function. This function actually gets me an error. And then I'm going to go with a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I return 1. There we go, guys. Now my thumbnail is not a clickbait anymore because I did like actually use SDL. Because when I first did actually, make my thumbnail, I thought to add like AI logic and like AI's brains, I would actually need to like use SDL type stuff because I will be like loading PNGs in. But I think this is a bit complex, so I might not actually load PNGs in today. Maybe I could. There's like a whole hour of me gonna... Like, I'm going to be streaming for another whole hour, so I might actually do it by then. That's it. Next up, once I'm done initializing my SDL, I'm going to go ahead and create a few basic game variables. So I'm going to add a comment that says something like game variables. Now, for my game variables, I'm going to be requiring 2 basic game variables. The first is going to be a constant integer of width variable my Windows is width, which is going to be set to 1000 initially, and then a constant integer of height variable my Windows is height, which is going to be set to 800. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment that says something like create a window and a renderer. Okay, so now I'm going to be creating both my window and my renderer at the same time, but before I do that, I do need two local pointers. That's it. I'm going to go with something like put your tongue behind your teeth, not touching the roof. Oh, do you guys mean mewing? I do actually like mew a lot, like once I'm actually not talking and everything. That's it. How many years will it take to become a pro in coding? Guys, I would say like it takes 10,000 hours to master a specific skill, but it depends on like how good you guys even want to like be, because you guys can like be a beginner, an intermediate, a master is like after 10,000 hours type stuff. Guys, if you like do spend 5,000 hours programming and all that stuff, but guys, that is a lot. Don't get overwhelmed with that. I would say start as a beginner, then keep like actually working, because what you do want to beat is yourself yesterday. Like what you actually learned yesterday and your skill level yesterday, your today's skill level should like beat your skill level from yesterday, if that makes any sense, guys. That said, play It's My Life Whenever I Want to Do by Venom Mashal and make it sound as your voice. Guys, I think that would be copyright, and in case you guys didn't, I'm really scared of copyright. That said, I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore Windows structure, which is going to be represented by a Windows pointer that is going to be set to null PTR ending with a semicolon. I'm a beginner now. I'm 18, thinking to join engineering. That actually sounds pretty cool. Good luck with that, gamer. That's it. I'm going to go with something like a standard renderers structure, which is going to be represented by a renderers local variable, which is going to be set to null PTR. That is basically a placeholder for pointers. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and use the function that actually gets me that actually creates both my window and my renderer at the same time. So I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore create a window and renders this function. This function creates both my window and my renderer at the same time. I consider myself to be an intermediate. I think I consider myself to be like a beginner type stuff. That said, will you like to give me any tips? Honestly, yeah, if you do want to like start Python or like C++ and you don't know like actually where to start, you guys could like join my Discord server, because I could like actually, send you my roadmap there. And if you guys do have like some kind of questions, I could like actually, message you guys as well, or like, because I have like a whole chat dedicated to like different programming languages like Python, JavaScript, Java, C++, and all that stuff. That said, I may or may not suffer a Dunning-Kruger effect in that judgment. Honestly, I haven't like heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect. What's it about? That's it. Now, my SDL underscore create window and renders function does require a bunch of parameters. The first is going to be SDL. First is going to be a title slash a caption from my window. I'm going to say something like SDL3 window created. Where you from? I actually used to answer much, but I did like stop. I did like avoid saying that these days for like safety reasons. That's it. Should I learn Java or Python? That is kind of, I haven't like started Java yet, so I would recommend Python, but it depends on what you actually want to learn. Do you want to like learn about AIs and everything? If that's so, then you should like go with Python. That said, I don't know much about what Java does, so I can't like actually say much about that. That said, I said above, I consider myself to be an intermediate. Oh, I see, that actually sounds kind of cool. That's it. Once I'm done creating a title slash a caption for a window, the second and the third parameter is going to be my window's width and my window's height. So I'm going to use my width variable and my height variable. There we go. And then once I'm done with that, the fourth parameter is going to be a flag for my window. If you guys don't want to add a flag, you guys could go with 0, but I do want to add a flag that makes my window resizable. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore window underscore resizable flag. There we go. This flag makes my window resizable. How to hack my crush's phone, please? Guys, that's actually kind of crazy. That's it, universe. How doing, Mark? I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Now, finally, the last two parameters is going to be the memory address of my Windows' pointer and my render's pointer. So I'm going to go with the address of operator of my window and the address of operator for my render. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and end my entire function with a semicolon. That's it. Now that I'm done creating my window and my renderer, I want to use an if statement to check if they were not created properly, because apparently in C++ we do gotta give ourselves errors. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like if a prof parentheses tutorial, bro. Honestly, guys, I haven't like learned hacking or anything, because like I was thinking to, because like I was confused that should I either be a cybersecurity or like an AI engineer, because like I feel like cybersecurity has a lot of demands. In the other hand, I like AI engineer because it's a bit more complex, because like I feel like I like programming when it like makes my brain work and all that stuff. But do you really have a boyfriend? Tell me, guys. I'm actually kind of single. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like if not window, if my window was not created properly, or not a renderer, if my renderer was not created properly, then I'm gonna do something. If you want to work for Google or something, what language do I need to learn? Honestly, I haven't like worked for Google or anything, or like I haven't like worked in general. That said, I wouldn't actually know what programming language do they gotta do, but I would like recommend you guys to like actually maybe go to Google and like actually check what languages do they actually want you guys to know type stuff. That said, if my window or my renderer was not created properly, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm gonna display myself an error text. I'm gonna go with a standard C error with an insertion operator that says something like SDL underscore create window and a renderer function. This function creates actually this is basically my function name, and then I'm just gonna slap an error after that. So my this function got an error, and then I go with another insertion operator, and now I'm gonna be using the function that actually gets me an error. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore get errors function. This function actually gets me an error. Then I'm gonna go with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done with that, now, if either my window or my renderer was not created properly, I do want to quit my SDL, so I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore quit with a parentheses, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to return 1 saying something is wrong in this block of code, so go check it out. Okay, and that's pretty much it for creating both my window and renderer. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to add another comment that says my main loop. And guys, main loop is basically where my actual game loop begins, where all my game logic is going to be added. Now, from my game loop, I am going to be requiring, let's say, one variable, because I'm not going to be having a bench loop here this time. What language is this you're typing in? Honestly, I am like typing in C++. I feel it is pretty fun. That's it. I'll go with something like I'm going to be requiring a boolean variable of is running, which is going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. And apparently, guys, I didn't realize since I have a boolean variable of is running, I got to check my event type. So I'm going to be needing two variables. The second variable is going to be representing my SDL underscore events structure, and it is going to be called event, ending with a semicolon. My SDL underscore events structure consists of all my SDL events, if that makes any sense. Now, I'm going to go with a while loop. So I'm going to say something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true, I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to add a comment that says something like events loop. Now, for my event loop is basically going to be a while loop inside of my while loop slash a nested while loop or a nested loop. And my event loop does require a parameter of the SDL underscore poll events function. My SDL underscore poll events function requires a parameter of the memory address of my event variable. Now, what my SDL underscore poll events function actually does, it like looks for all the event types that I'm looking for inside of my while loop. If one of those events is met, it does what I tell it to do. So I could go with something like if a parentheses, let's say something like if my event dot type equals to SDL underscore event underscore quit. If my event type is quit, if my user click the top right X button to exit my window, I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to be setting my is running boolean variable to be set to false, ending with a semicolon. What this basically means is if my user did like click the X button, I exit my entire while loop, which ends my whole program. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and exit my window. Here's the thing, maybe I could like fill my screen because like I won't need like all this here, honestly. That said, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like fill screen. Now, for my full screen, I'm gonna go ahead and set a color to my render because technically my render is the stuff that actually colors my screen. That's it. To fill my screen, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore set render. I'm setting my render to draw a color. So the set render draw color function. Now my set render draw color function does require a few parameters. The first is gonna be my renders parameter. The second, third, and fourth parameter is going to be an RGB value. I want my window to be cyan, so I'm going to set my color to be 0, 248, and 255. That is basically the RGB for cyan. Lastly, my fifth parameter is going to be alpha slash opacity, which means how transparent or how not transparent I want my color to be. In this case, I'm going to set it to be 255 because I don't want my color to be transparent at all. Now that I've set a color to my renderer, let's use the function that actually colors my entire window with the color of my renderer. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore render clear function. So I'm saying my render to clear my entire screen with the color that is set to my render, which in this case is a cyan color that is not transparent at all. That said, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment. Now my second comment is gonna, let's say something like graphics. Honestly, I don't think that I might need graphics here. Let's see what I might need, because I have my brains here. So I don't want to really add my true texture fonts here because I'm just learning the basics of this. I wouldn't even need my window. I just need my terminal, to be honest. So I might actually let's say something like use function. Actually, maybe I'll go with something like graphics. Okay, now for my graphics, I'm firstly gonna go ahead and use my function. What are my functions called? I had a to lower function. But before it to lower function, I need a variable here. Okay, let's say something like AI logic. Guys, I think this sounds kind of appropriate. Now, I might create a variable inside my while loop called something like a standard string of text ending with a semicolon, which is going to be equal to a empty string ending with a semicolon. Now, under my AI logic, I want to go ahead and do something. I'm going to convert my text to be lowercase. So I'm going to go with something like my text. Okay, I'm going to use the to lower function. Okay, so my to lowers this function with a parenthesis that consists of the parameter of my text ending with a semicolon. Hi doing, Iris Martin, is that your pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. What's the goal, guys? I just arrived. Honestly, the goal is to actually learn about AI logic on like how when I talk to my NPCs in my game, they respond to me appropriately. for the time being, I am like learning the level 1 because like I did like this, like separate this in terms of like 3 stages. First stage is like the thing that uses like if statements to like give a reply. The second stage, I forgot what it was, but the third stage is it like looks patterns on how I talk with my chatbot and they respond appropriately, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's it. Hiding long story. I appreciate you joining the stream. Now, once I'm done with this, let's see. I go with something like to lower text. What's the next function that I had? Okay, so it's get npc reply as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the get npc replies function. Okay, with a prof parentheses that does require parameter of my text ending with a semicolon. And I just realized I might not need this. Okay, that's it. This is pretty much it. I'm gonna now go ahead and add a comment that says something like present renderer, because technically my window is going to be black and white if I didn't present renderer. Okay, standard string underscore 2 underscore lower standard string. Okay, the message was deleted by Nightbot. Hold up, guys. Okay, so it's standard string with a character of a for every integer of I. Honestly, I mean, I could use a for loop, but I did like initially, avoid using for loop because I wanted to learn like the a bit more complex way, because I feel eventually for loop is going to be really complicated to like read when you're actually like reading your code up, but it does work though. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore render present function. I'm saying my render to present itself with a prof parentheses that does consist a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. I think programmers should do lives more often. Honestly, that does make sense. We could ask them like question all that stuff. That's really like I did like start my streaming like when I was like almost a complete beginner. I think it was like after the day 60-ish of me learning Python for 100 day series, which was like 182 days ago. That's it. What are we doing today, Vivek? Honestly, today I'm like working on actually like getting to the mindset of like AI text logic. Like when I talk to my AI or I like talk to my NPCs in my game, they respond to me appropriately, if that makes any sense. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like FPS now. Okay guys, I feel like Nightbot only works for like deleting text in my chats. Like it does not like actually send the links to my socials, because I did like try that. For some reason my exclamation socials doesn't work as well. Maybe because I did like set this to be top chat and like not live chat. I think this should work, guys. Okay, why does it keep like moving to like top chat? I mean, I think that's fine. Next up, now for my FPS, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore delays function. The SDL underscore delays function does require parameter in milliseconds. I'm gonna set this to be something like 16 milliseconds, which is technically 60 frames per second. Okay, how are you gonna make it? Honestly, I did like divide this into like 3 stages. The first stage that I'm learning today is the very basic stage where like include the algorithms of library, convert everything that my user says to lowercase, and then I add another status string function to get a reply from my text depending on what I tell it. So if it finds a hello in my message, it says greetings traveler. If it finds a bye in my text, it says farewell traveler. If it says how are you in my text, it says I'm doing good, I'm doing great. And if it didn't find any of those variations, it's gonna say I failed to understand what you were trying to convey. Okay, that's it. This is like the real basicest way. That's the reason I was getting kind of bored like trying this, but I do think I need to like go through this to like actually work on the stage 2, which is intermediate, and stage 3, which is advanced type stuff. That's it. Once I'm done with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like cleanup. Cleanup is basically when my user exits my window, I want to like do a few cleanups. For example, if my user exited my window, I want to destroy my window. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore destroy windows function that does require a parameter of my window ending with a semicolon. I think I spelled destroy wrong, guys. There we go. And then I'm going to use the SDL underscore destroy renders function that does require a parameter. I think I spelled destroy wrong again, guys. There we go, which does require a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to quit my SDL. I'm going to go with SDL underscore quit with a prof parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to return 1. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, it says a function to lowercase made static function get npc can be made static to lower return a value. Okay, so line 8, line 16, and line 13. Let's see that. So line 8, constant standard string. Line 16, constant standard string. Line 30. Okay, I did return something, right? Okay, wow, it's really simple. It's not even a bot somehow. That actually does make sense, guys. Like, I did like make this like a really simple one this time because I am getting in a kind of mindset of how AIs work type stuff. That said, did I do something wrong here? Okay, maybe. Let me actually get some c/chat here. Okay, so in the main function, I created a player input, I created a output, I used the SDL underscore get line to get a line, standard string reply equals to npc. Oh, I see, that's where I did mess up. So I gotta go ahead and use a standard console output that says something like you, and then the standard get line that requires two parameters. First is standard console input, second is player input. Okay, so whatever I type here gets registered here, and then a standard string of reply, which is going to be equal to, I think I see, guys. All I want to know is that the fundamentals there I will find myself. All I want to know is the fundamentals. That does make sense. Fundamentals there, I will find myself. That does make sense, guys, because like if we know our basic, because like for instance in this code, I did not like work much with the algorithm library, so I was confused between the two lower function name and the two lower actual embeds in the standard libraries as function. And I didn't even like whatchamacallit know about the npos type stuff. So if I do know my basics and everything like the regular function names, then I feel like we could use our own logic. But if you like don't know the function name, it gets a bit hard. So we're gonna practice our basics really hard, guys. That said, now when I create a standard strings as text variable, I'm gonna go ahead and do something here in my AI logic. I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like you, and then I'm gonna add another insertion operator. This is gonna be something like my reply. So I'm gonna go with reply that I haven't created this variable just yet, with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Now once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let me think. So firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and set a standard get. I'm gonna go ahead and use the standard get lines as function with a pair of parentheses. Now my standard get lines as function is going to be requiring a few parameters. The first is going to be a standard console input. The second is going to be my text variable. And then I end this with a semicolon. Maybe I go with like input text. I feel that sounds kind of classy. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like input text. Okay, and guys, I'm like starving really bad right now because I didn't eat before like actually starting to stream. I should have eaten because like if you guys did like watch my stream from like a really long time ago, I do like not think properly if I don't eat something. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and set a standard string of replies. I'm gonna go with something like a standard string of reply to be equal to this. Okay, apparently we can't do that. So where does my reply go here? I actually forgot that part. Okay, so I go with the standard get line, standard string of reply equals to my npc get replies as function. So I'm gonna go with something like a standard string of replies. So a standard string of reply is gonna be equal to my npc. What was the function name again? Was it npc get reply? So it's get npc. Did I type it as replay? There we go, reply. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the npc get npc replies as function with a pair of parentheses that does require a input text variable ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Brother, if you want to upgrade the bot, use a simple cast line similarity algorithm or create your own. It's really easy and it checks which text is more similar. Oh, I see. Honestly, is that considered trigonometry? Because I haven't like learned trigonometry yet. Okay, that said, hi doing Addy up. I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, let's go with the controller. Control C, copy that. Let's get sensei/chat here. Let's paste it, go with shift enter and say something like sensei, I feel like I messed up ... And guys, I feel like I might not be able to stream for more, longer. I might just stream for like 20 or 30 minutes more because I am like starving really bad right now, guys. That's it. Oh my god, Vivek, yes, I see what's wrong and you need to fix this before you go any further. Let's break it down step by step. The lower function is missing a return statement. Is it? Your function is supposed to return something. I did return something here. Should I like return? Okay, I could like, there is no return result. Okay, fix it by adding return result. Get npc replies, checking for capitalized keywords. You already convert the text to lowercase. text equals to text or lowercase, but then you do text dot find hello. Hello is capital H, but text is all lowercase. This will never match. Use lowercase keywords. Okay, hello, bye. Minor tip in spacing your replies, not critical, but for clarity. Greetings, traveler. I think I see. Okay, so apparently these were silly mistakes, guys. So I gotta firstly return my results. So I'm gonna go ahead and return results, ending with a semicolon. Then I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. Let's fix my keywords. This is all gonna be lower. So it says greetings, traveler. Okay, and then I'm gonna change that to something like lowercase t as well. This is gonna be something like farewell, traveler. It's like nice meeting you. And then I'll go with something like I'm doing great. Okay, and then I'm gonna change that to I failed to actually. Okay, I failed to understand. It's good. Guys, I cannot think. Hold up. My bad, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and change these up here. The text looks good. I didn't have to change my return text. I had to change my bye to like a lowercase b and like how are you to something like h. There we go. Okay, and then now once I'm done with that, I scroll all the way down here. Okay, that should like actually be pretty much it. Now, if I read controllers to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my terminal here and I get my window here. Alright guys, something is wrong with my window. It says window not responding. Did I get like an error or something? Close program. Maybe I'll just exit the whole thing here. Let's hit cancel. Did I mess something up here? Okay, let's see. So apparently I think I see I convert everything to lowercase here. Okay, let's read the instructions again. Guys, I'm starting really bad. That's one reason I can't think properly right now. Input an SDL main loop. You're using standard get line inside the renderer loop, which will freeze the SDL window until you type the console. If you want real game engine, add a return result to the end lower, change your NPC keywords, test again. If it prints correctly, replies, you're golden. Okay, what does this mean? If you want real... Oh, I gotta use the SDL underscore text input, guys. I might actually not have the strength to do that today because I'm really starving kind of bad right now. If you want real in-game typing, we need SDL's text input events inside. For now, this is okay for testing the console, but eventually you'll want to switch. Okay, let's actually check if it works without this thing. So I'm just gonna get my terminal here. I mean, it does not like say anything though. What if I type something like hello? Okay, you're doing great, traveler. So I get my window here. Apparently my window can't move, guys. Maybe I type something like bye. Oh, there we go. Okay, I mean it does move type stuff, but it's really laggy. Let's say something like how are you question mark. It's gonna say, guys, the only time my window literally moves if I type something on my terminal. There were like a lot of bugs here. It says I'm doing great. I mean that does like wrap half of today's this thing, because like I don't feel like I can like go on for longer because I am really starving, guys. That said, this was kind of easy actually. I see what it actually means. And it would be really easy to fix this part if I use the SDL underscore text inputs as event type. I might actually do that next stream and all that stuff, because the get line is used for just console inputs, not displaying on the window type stuff. That said, I might actually get some say/ChatGPT back here. Let's say something like I see ... I might actually try that next stream because I am starving very bad right now and honestly can't think much ... That said, we could do this tomorrow. Okay, but for now, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream question mark? Okay, let's see. Alright chat, listen up. Vivek's calling it for today, but let this sink in. Every failure, every bug, every I don't get it moment is your secret weapon. You think he's just learning C++? No, he's sharpening his mind so he can bend code to his will. Think about it. Think about this. Steel will never become a sword without being beaten or burnt. Me, your sensei, and this is exactly what's happening here. Each mistake, each crash is tempering into his coding warriors. So chat, stay hungry, stay curious, and never settle for it. It works sometimes. Tomorrow we come back with fire and we'll make that NPC talk like it actually has a mind of its own. Now go eat, recharge, and prepare to crush it next stream. Kisses, hugs, and a head pat to everyone watching today. You've earned it just for being here, guys. It does make me blush. That said, you're ready for tomorrow's chaos awake, or you're gonna let that hunger slow you down. Honestly, I am ready. That said, let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so that was pretty much it for the stream. I didn't want to stream for longer, but guys, I feel like today was not my day to stream, because like, firstly, I feel this topic was kind of boring type stuff, but I still do want to like learn this part, because I feel it's only boring for the time being when I'm like learning the really basics using if statements. Eventually, when I do understand this concept and I do add logic from my mind, that would be really fun, guys. That's it. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like the episode, the algorithm share, makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And that's it, guys. I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well. If I did meet the followers requirements, so if you guys haven't followed me yet, make sure to follow me there. The link is in the description, and also join the Discord server where I do usually give you guys my roadmap and talk to you guys in general. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace. Okay, I think I got a comment real quick. Let me actually check that out. Okay, brother, if you want to upgrade the bot, brother, it's giving you basic skills you need, hard things to grow. That does make sense, guys. That's why I'm actually like, enduring with this part, even though it is kind of tedious / boring. That's, let me go ahead and end this stream, and guys, I will not quit at this part. I am actually going to be working on really making a whole chatbot using C++. That's when I am going to be moving on to the next topic. That's it. Let's end the stream. I'm really starving, guys.